Всем привет.
Hi everyone. Right, I suggest we kick off my presentation. I'd like to talk to you about the botnets, the way we implement them, and I'll briefly tell you what steps are to be taken to minimize the risks of botnets penetrating your devices. Right, without further ado, let's kick off this session. I'm going to have 4 bullets in my presentation, and let's start with an overview of the market, the botnets that are used, and the vendors that provide the devices. Then I will sum up the statistics. Right, according to the research, the most attacked devices are those manufactured by the vendors listed here in this table. Cisco is at the top line. I'd like to point out from the very outset that these statistics only took into account the fact that botnets are often attacking the devices that are almost at the end of the vendor support time. So security updates are no longer provided by the vendors, while those that are supported by the vendors are less susceptible to attacks. As for the exploited vulnerabilities, if devices are attacked by botnets, this slide lists most of the exploited vulnerabilities. No matter how fun it might seem, but the weak passwords or known or breathable passwords. The second bullet is known vulnerabilities, known CVEs, including unpatched software vulnerabilities, open ports of routers, and so on and so forth. Open ports is the third bullet, but I'm going to give you more details later on. And bullet 4, others, other malware-like spread techniques that are used for spreading around malware. RT vulnerabilities are also part of this category. Let's move on to the most interesting part of my presentation. So, let's talk about Mirai. How come I'd like to raise this particular bullet right now? Because, you know, back in 2016, botnet drew universal attention. The author published the source code of the botnet. They were in public access. Then GitHub started posting the source code to spread it around. And I'd like to point out that the original version did not contain
людьми, но и размещались на других площадках, могут содержать в себе, например,
backdoors. While later on backdoors were included, for instance, backdoors for port 03, and if you wanna run a botnet, everything that goes to port 103 in the backdoors version will be used by your server. The author or the operator of the botnet tells about the setup and it goes through the main characteristics. Over 400k bots were used for one CNC server alone. As for the spread mechanisms, the ring time loading, this is, by the way, a quote from the original bot post. When the devices are compromised, when you get access to it, the device itself scans the vulnerabilities already activated by the botnet in the adjacent devices. The source code of the botnet can be found in GitHub. I will give you a hyperlink at the end of my presentation, so you can take a closer look at that. As for brute functionality, botnet MRI in the original version used the brute force against known passwords.
По сути, от интерфейсов типа Telnet, SASH и так далее к IoT-устройствам в целом. Вот. Что можно сказать про интересных...
What's interesting in the functionality of this botnet, and how come I'm discussing that? In addition to the compromise functionality, I believe that the most interesting function would be the killer functionality against other malicious processes. For instance,
Первое, что оно делает, по сути, это сканирует устройство на потенциально вредоносные...
it scans devices for potential malicious processes and kills them. It also prevents it from follow-up restarts.
Тут в сэмплах кода приведены...
And the code samples
убийство процесса,
killing the TNet SSH connection functions and their services. Another thing I want to mention, in addition to the functionality I just mentioned,
поиск процессов, у которых...
this is the search for the processes whose pathway contains data anime, and they were VPO named anime, and these processes were found and killed by the Mirai botnet. Why are we interested in that, and how come we're discussing that right now? Well, I'm going to give you details later on. Another interesting code sample is the filter for IP addresses. The local addresses are skipped, and
Хельверт Паккард. Вот. А также Department of Defense и...
And Department of Defense and other addresses are also skipped. Why are we discussing all of that? If you take a close look at the current market environment, you'll see that starting from 2017, the
в рамках overview самой индустрии сейчас
the average IoT growth rate is 15%. So by 2029, the market volume will equal almost 2.5 trillion US dollars. And based on ESMA and BOLT for 2014, we ranked the top botnets. At the top of the list is Mirai. So how come it is still at the top of the list? Because according to the author left the DDoS industry and stopped operating botnets. Since Mirai source code was published, it's in the open access. Everyone can get access to it. So
создалось огромное количество копий и вариаций.
there are lots of versions and copies of Mirai, including very recent ones. And this is a screenshot of one of the channels that publishes source code of malware. And there is also a bot for attacking marketplaces, and these are the most recent versions of the Mirai botnet and its source code that were published in spring 2024. As you can see,
больше и больше допиливается функционал Mirai. То есть
the Mirai functionality is being improved all the time, which means that more advanced killer function mechanisms are being used, and in addition to that, the functionality itself is improved. And there are two more interesting things that I want to share with you, but let me speed up because I have to go through more slides. The compromising mechanisms are also being improved, and known vulnerabilities are being exploited, especially if they are linked to specific vendors. So, to sum up, modern botnets can implement CNC via new approaches, not through the domain names, but through Telegram. In addition to that, the infection techniques are better. Obfuscation and encryption mechanisms have also been improved.
самой полезной нагрузки расширила...
The payload drop techniques are improved.
режима атаки.
And new attack modes have been implemented.
Где найти пароли?
Well, where to find the passwords and the word lists used by botnet. The original Mirai word list includes 60 lines, and by scanning this QR code, you will find this word list. Other collections that include over 3,000 names will be found there. There is a service. IoT device default password lookup. You will find the hyperlink here. And in conclusion, I just want to mention that
Включение устройства.
the stages to mitigate the risks are shown in the slide, and a more detailed version of the research will be published later on. I have exhausted my time, so I suggest we wrap up my presentation. I'll be grateful for any feedback. Thank you so much for your attention. And in conclusion, attackers have different goals, and botnets are not necessarily used to launch target attacks. Serial's botnet used just one vulnerability in the CGI, and the only goal was to upload an anime video with websites and
По сути, включены в ботнет устройства. Использовалось взаимодействие в
and they used the
network video recorders.
native video recorders D-Link vulnerability, and well, it is also about IoT. And MC Crash wanted to send you to a private Minecraft service. Thank you so much. I'll be happy for any feedback. I hope you like my presentation.
Полная версия исследования.
Like I said, the full version of the research is going to be published in the article, and a friend of mine will deliver more data on the research at one of the business tracks. Please come to her presentation. Thank you so much. Happy to be here.